A few farms remain in the outlying districts. Some of this land is designated for agricultural use and, like the land in the watershed, will remain open for future generations.
Nice place to be, I guess. Everybody likes being near water.
Welcome to the live section of Fitchburg History. We're lucky to have two guests here tonight from the Fitchburg Greenway Committee. We have Janet Morrison and Ralph Baker. Could you introduce yourselves, please?
Hi, I'm Janet Morrison. I'm a member of the Fitchburg Greenway Committee. I'm also Executive Director of North County Land Trust, which owns some conservation land in the city.
Okay, and why did you become interested in environmentalism?
Well, as an Executive Director of a land trust, that is our core mission, is land conservation. And Fitchburg is a really important place for us to be working. As I indicated, we have the 150-acre Crocker Conservation Area here in the city, which surrounds Overlook Reservoir, on which we hold a conservation restriction. And we've been more recently involved in some urban park work, in which the Fitchburg Greenway Committee is also heavily involved. I happen to co-chair the Greenway Committee. We meet monthly, and membership is open to everyone who is interested in doing some real positive work toward improving natural resources in Fitchburg.
Okay, thank you. And Ralph, you are doing a lot of the same things?
I am. I'm Ralph Baker. I'm the Chairman and Chief Scientist for TerraTherm, which is a company I co-founded here in Fitchburg that is actually an environmental firm, the largest environmental company in the city. We chose to come to Fitchburg because it had the right combination of characteristics, and for us that was not only the economic benefits, but also the environment that it's in. I live here in Fitchburg. I'm a member of the Greenway Committee and also a director of the Natural River Watershed Association. So for me, being an environmentalist is not only a vocation, it's an avocation too. I love the hiking, the cycling, and the cross-country skiing that the city has. It's really pretty unique. Here in Fitchburg, small, gritty, post-industrial city, also has access to some of the most wonderful natural resources of any small city in eastern Massachusetts, for sure.
I was surprised to learn that nearly 70% of the land is considered open.
I'm not at all surprised that it's that large a number. There's huge woodlands in the city. There's a lot of agricultural land in the northern part of the city in particular. And it's all sewn together really by the river. So as a member of the Greenway Committee, one of the things that we're trying to do is find connections that will enable people to access these beautiful places that have been featured in your documentary, and find a way to sort of sew them together and make them all accessible. I just visited my brother in Minneapolis last week, and I was amazed at what a greenway can become when it's farther along than ours is. There are paths, trails, and connections everywhere there. We can do that here. We have some wonderful features in our city that lend itself to doing that.
Super. Maybe, Janet, could you tell us a little bit about how the Greenways Committee gets started, since you're transplanted to our area?
Well, the Greenway Committee, I think, dates back to about 2000, 2001. At that time, the Army Corps of Engineers was doing a study of the Nashua River. Riverfront Park hadn't yet come on board. It was very much ad hoc at that time. I think Mayor Wong was then the Economic Development Director for the city of Fitchburg. And I remember early meetings at which she was the chair, and the Riverfront Park was being created at that time. Since then, our involvement has really intensified on the Greenway Committee, working with Mayor Wong's administration. We've been able to, I think, accomplish quite a bit. The situation with Riverfront Park, which we see here, has involved restoration, not a restoration, but a second phase of the park in which there's some terracing down to the water to allow people to see the river, to access the river a little bit. It has become a very popular spot in Fitchburg. We have a farmer's market that is there every week now during the summer. Since last summer, there are a regular concert series and movies and other public activities. I think the park has actually borne out the hopes that we had for it.
Wonderful. Now, another interest of the Greenways Committee and your general involvement is the watershed area and the northern part of the city. Could you elaborate a little bit more on that?
Certainly. Well, you know, just north of the Upper Common is a block of land that is owned by the North County Land Trust, and that's called Crocker Conservation Area. That connects in turn with the Audubon Society's Flat Rock Sanctuary, and further north is also contiguous to a large block of land, about 1,700 acres, owned by the city of Fitchburg watershed, protecting our reservoirs up there. That huge block of land is a tremendous asset. It's got a lot of great trails in it. The Greenway Committee has been involved in trying to maintain and expand those trails, especially in the northern watershed. We've had a number of trail work days, very well attended, and so some of those trails that are now open to the public are marked. We'll eventually have a set of maps that people can access and go explore, and it's really fabulous. It's quite wild in the northern part of the city, and it's only a short distance from town. So the yellow area is the first one that I mentioned, North County Land Trust land. The light purple is the Mass Audubon Sanctuary, which many people are familiar with it. You can access it also through the back of Burbank Hospital. And then the green area is the beginning, just the southern portion of the city of Fitchburg's northern watershed land that extends all the way into Ashby and Ashburnham.
We have several other reservoirs in other parts, in other cities, and that all connects
That's right.
up with that, yeah. One thing that you mentioned on the email you sent me, Janet, was the pavement to peak, linking downtown Fitchburg to Mount Ortatic. Can you tell us about that plan?
Sure. Well, those of us who do land conservation for a living are always interested in landscape scale preservation of land and in making connections between conservation areas. That's good not only for habitat and natural resource conservation, but also for recreation. Once again, we are very interested, and this is a group of Greenway Committee members that you can see there, in making that connection. It would start downtown in Fitchburg, since the North County Land Trust's Crocker Conservation Area is really literally about a quarter mile from the neighborhoods there. And you could literally walk north through the City of Fitchburg watershed land into Ashby. And then we have been, North County and the Fitchburg Greenway Committee have been working together to help the City of Fitchburg conserve more land in that watershed. And those connections are helping to get us to Mount Ortatic, which is right on the New Hampshire line, as many people know, sort of sitting on the corner of Ashby and Ashburnham. And there's a map that may come up that would show a little bit of what we're trying to do and how those connections are made. They're basically made through Ashby and into Ashburnham, and would be along the Midstate Trail,
Okay.
which runs, as many people know, is a long-distance trail running from Rhode Island into New Hampshire, crosses Massachusetts. And here is a picture of that map where you can kind of see the the watershed on the bottom right quadrant and Fitchburg Reservoir, you can see a little bit of a red patch, which is some of the land that North County helped to conserve for the city of Fitchburg. And the green patches basically are what you see as conserved land. So there's some linkages that need to be made, but we think that is something that is doable, even perhaps within the next 5 to 10 years.
That would be wonderful. I was also surprised, not surprised to learn, but the Wapak Trail, which isn't that far from here, starts in Ashby, is, I think, the oldest interstate walking trail that exists. Mm-hmm. So there is a history of being involved with trail building and trail making here, so that should be a very interesting project for you to do.
The Wapak Trail actually starts at Mount Watatic and runs north along that ridge of hills into New Hampshire a ways to Pack-Monadnock.
Right, ends at North Pack. Well, actually at the bottom of North Pack.
That's right.
Which is pretty cool. We just have a few minutes left. Maybe you could tell us some ways that people could take interest, take some ownership in projects like this. Can they be advocates for it? Can they volunteer? What can people do?
Well, Mayor Whitney mentioned one of the, I think, principal challenges that we have, which is to develop friends groups that will support their local parks, especially the passive parks, such as Gateway Park. That will require people to step up and get active. As she mentioned, there's going to be community gardens there, but also other features that can be used for small performance or just walking and passive recreation. That's one of the principal ways to get involved. Also, we do these trail days and other things like that can involve anybody.
Great, and those are usually pretty well publicized, so people can keep tuned and figure out what's going on. I'd like to thank both of you for coming here tonight to talk about open space and wish you luck with all of your future endeavors.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Ann.
Ann.
You're welcome.